Welcome to Pontification Nation. I'm Ricky Skittle, your host, and as always, coming to you live from my mother's basement. We're going to have a new segment today. It's called This Week in Something Spicious. We're going to be talking about Jussie Smollett, the Empire actor who allegedly was assaulted, had a noose put around his neck, was poured bleach on him by, Trump supporters who were screaming at him, racial and homophobic epithets and slurs that are highly offensive and disgusting. And people who use that type of language are disgusting human beings. Let's just get that straight right now. They say this is MAGA country. He's also got another issue with a letter that has been sent to him as well. And we'll talk about that, and really what I want to do here, I'm not trying to disparage this person, what happened to him allegedly, and if it's true, I hope that the people who committed this atrocity are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But we're still running into this whole liberal conspiracy theory of if true. Right? How many times do we hear if true, if true, if true, if true, if the president is from Mars, then he is a Martian and invading this planet, well, okay, great. So let's kind of look at this and, try to examine what we know are the facts, and then pontificate a little bit on what this may look like in a week or two from now. Just to have some fun with it and end the week on a relatively light note. I know the last video was a little hard and tough, talking about a very difficult subject. So we'll have some fun with this. This is the original report from TMZ, and this was on the 29th. So we're now about 3 or 4 days ago. So Jussie was out at 2 a.m. on Monday night, going to a Subway near his either apartment or he was staying at the Lowe's Hotel. I'm not sure which. I think it was his apartment near the Navy Pier. And if you're familiar with Chicago, the Navy Pier is a very wealthy, ritzy area. That kind of thing. I know a lot of people were wondering what kind of Subway is open at 2 a.m. I did check the Subway where this happened. It is open 24 hours a day. So let's just look at the original report. Empire star Jussie Smollett was brutally attacked by two men who beat him up, put his head in a noose, and screamed, "This is MAGA country." Sources directly connected to Jussie tell TMZ the actor arrived in Chicago from New York late on Monday, and then at around 2 a.m. he was hungry and went to a Subway. We're told when shortly after he walked out, I think that should be 2 a.m. he was hungry and went to a Subway, we're told. When shortly after he walked out on his way home and someone yelled, "Aren't you that Empire blank?" So we don't want to say those words. They're not even worth talking about. They're disgusting, and they disgust me, and people who use them are disgusting. These two men were both white and wearing ski masks. These two men who were both white and wearing ski masks viciously attacked Jussie as he fought back, but they beat him badly and fractured a rib. They put a rope around his neck, poured bleach on him. As they left, they yelled, "This is MAGA country." Now what this article is describing is an awful, terrible thing to happen to anyone of any color, or sexual persuasion or whatever. Here at Pontification Nation, we believe in freedom. And you have the right to do what you want, where you want, when you want, without the intrusion or judgment of anyone else. So this man has every right to walk down the street in Chicago and get a Subway and not be bothered by people like this. There's also this, which was sent to the Fox Studios in Chicago. This person, Jussie Smollett, Empire, MAGA here, you will die. You can read this stuff. I'm not going to say it out loud. I don't need to. It's disgusting. So now let's just look at these things. I mean, we'll continue, right? So, this is what they said, someone said. I mean, listen, I support the president. I support MAGA. I believe that we should make America great again, and I believe that there is that Trump has, uncovered some serious, terrible things that are wrong with not only our country, but the world. And we need to deal with those and fix them. Or we will be looking at the world ending in a dozen years, AOC, but not because of global warming. It will be because, there is corruption and our way of life will end as we know it. But I just don't see a lot of Trump supporters who are writing in this way, and sending this type of stuff to people. I mean, who has time for this? It doesn't matter. Yes, he's an avid Trump hater. I mean, this man has Trump derangement syndrome, and he is in stage 4. Right? We're not taught he is near death Trump derangement syndrome is who this person is. And that's just a fact of the matter. I mean, that's who he is. We're not talking anything about what happened to him, but just about who he is. But I don't know a lot of people who have time for stuff like this and who do stuff like this. But I do know that liberals like to do stuff like this and then blame it on conservatives. I mean, what they do essentially is they do all the things that they say that conservatives do, and then they project what they've done on conservatives like conservatives did it. Hence the Russia collusion story. We all know for a fact that there was no Russia collusion between the Trump campaign. And if there were, Russia is surely getting, no return on their investment because of the actions Trump has taken since he's been in office. But we do know that Hillary Clinton paid a law firm who paid a Oppo research firm who then paid a British person who then paid Russians to get dirt on Donald Trump and make it up. So we know for a fact that there was actual Russian collusion. So again, projection. They say they say the conservatives are doing something, but they're actually the ones doing it. They just project it. So we'll find out. I guess the FBI is on this. Great, because they're real good at being objective and finding facts. It appears. But we'll find out more about that later. Now, what is suspicious? Right now in Chicago, we know how cold it is. How many people are out on the street trying to run around and find people they can lynch, and who carries a bucket of bleach around with them and a noose? I mean, it sounds, from a liberal perspective, if I were a crazy person, a liberal, I would look at this and I would say, boy, this sounds too good to be true. Obviously, I would feel bad for Jussie. I do feel bad for Jussie. I mean, whatever happened to him, I feel bad. No one deserves to get beat up or hit, or, I hope he didn't slip and fall on the ice. But in any case, I would look at this and say, wow, I can't believe these people are awful, but we got them. And I would go straight to Twitter and I would start promoting this and talk about it. Now, here are where I start to get suspicious. So they talk about how this was MAGA country, and then you have the Anthony Guglielmi, who is the person in charge of he's the spokesperson for this, is saying that in the initial report they didn't hear anything about the MAGA country. And then when they did the follow-up report at 9:30 a.m., they heard about the MAGA country. So we have two different reports within 7 hours of the crime. And then it comes out, a few days later that they won't hand over their phones to police just so that the police can confirm that they were on the phone together, which is, if you're trying to get your facts straight, why wouldn't you want to do that? If I told the police something and they asked me to verify my claim, I would certainly provide the evidence that verified my claim. I don't understand, what is going on, why this story changes as time goes on, and that's what makes me suspicious. Here we have, Jussie is breaking his silence, after racist and homophobic attack. This is from MSN. And I just want to highlight in this article that it talks about everything. Here, I am working with authorities and have been 100% factual and consistent on every level. Despite my frustrations and deep concern with the certain inaccuracies and misrepresentations that have been spread, I still believe that justice will be served. He continued, as my family stated, these types of cowardly attacks are happening to my sisters, brothers, and non-gender conforming siblings daily. I am not and should not be looked upon as an isolated incident. We will talk soon and I will address all details of this horrific incident, but I need a moment to process. Most importantly, during times of trauma, grief, and pain, there is still a responsibility to lead with love. It's all I know, and that can't be kicked out of me. With love and respect, and honor, Jussie. Now, this is his statement, today. This is coming out just a few hours ago, Friday the 1st. And, so he is saying that there are falsehoods being spread about his statements. So, everyone has the right to be believed until, that no longer exists because of other evidence that may come to light. But one thing that I just wanted to note about this article is not once in this article do they discuss the fact that, I guess this is an Us Weekly article, not even an MSN, sorry. But not once in this article did they discuss the fact that the police have requested the phones and they have refused to give them over. That is an important piece of information when telling this story. Like it or not, it's an important piece of information. Now, let's, look over here at Fox. Of course, Fox says, and they actually do it pretty late in the article. I don't know if this has anything to do with this, but they did say, let me just see if I can find it real quick. Guglielmi said that Smollett and his manager told detectives they were talking on the phone at the time of the attack, but that the actor and his manager declined to turn over his phone records to detectives, who routinely ask for such information during criminal investigations. So at least here we're mentioning it in the Fox article. But at the end of the day, this seems weird. One thing that I like to kind of make known when we talk about this as well is, they talk about, it's like putting together a puzzle. He's talking about getting the videos. So these are the two people that the police want to talk to. The police have made it clear they don't believe that, they don't know if these people are suspects or not. They're not suspects at this time. They just want to talk to them to see if they know anything about anything that could have potentially went on. But if you look around on the street here, there's ice here. It looks very cold. There's steam coming out of every hole in every building. Is this really when you're going to want to go out and lynch someone and throw bleach on them in the middle of the night on a Monday? You got to believe that in Streeterville and Chicago on Friday, you're probably going to have a better opportunity to lynch somebody. And then the other thing that I like to make clear about Chicago is Chicago is a has a famous investigation. So I'm going to just read this last article. Police say the cameras have helped them make thousands of arrests. They're talking about you are in a police state when you're in Chicago. There's cameras everywhere on every building. All the people who live there have they have rings, they have surveillance, everything. There's crime everywhere. You have to have cameras to be able to catch criminals. Police say the cameras have helped them make thousands of arrests. In one of the best known examples of the department's use of cameras, investigators in 2009 were able to recreate a school board president's 20-minute drive through the city, singling out his car on a succession of surveillance cameras to help them determine that he committed suicide and had not been followed and killed by someone else, as his friends speculated. So, this city has the ability and the technology and the wherewithal to see every second of every moment of all of the area where he was. And they will. And we will find out the truth. And hopefully, if what he's saying is true, that the people will be brought to justice. If not, if what he's saying isn't true, then, we'll have to talk about that at a later date. I don't want to speculate on somebody lying. Here's another article talking about refusing to turn over the phone records during the alleged MAGA attack. And here is the other thing. When we talk about suspicious, that just has me suspicious. This is MAGA country. Anyone who's been to Chicago, raise your hand. Me, I've been to Chicago. Chicago is not MAGA country. It's just simply not. It's factually inaccurate to describe it that way. I don't think any Trump supporter would call Chicago MAGA country. There might be some places in Illinois where you might say this is MAGA country, but Chicago and the surrounding counties are not one. So here, here's the New York Times thing on Chicago and how they voted in 2016, because that's the last time Trump was in an election. So it was 80-20 in the city. And it gets a little more conservative when you go outside of the city in certain areas. But I took, the votes from all these counties, added them up. So we had Hillary Clinton receiving 2.2 million approximately of the votes from those counties, and Trump receiving 944,000 of those votes. So he received 30% of the votes from that area. I don't know if that qualifies in my mind as MAGA country. Maybe it does in these people's minds, because clearly they have a low intelligence because they can't even, write to get that letter out. I mean, it looks silly. I mean, everything about this seems suspicious and very interesting. But I will reserve judgment and give the benefit of the doubt. But I will tell you what, if this turns out like I think it's going to, I will be back with another video to talk about what should happen. Because what should happen, if none of this is true, is there should be full prosecution for filing a false report with the police, to the fullest extent of the law, because we cannot have police resources wasted at a time like this when it's so cold in Chicago and they could be out doing other things to help people. But that being said, we will reserve judgment, because here at Pontification Nation, we opine, but we do not judge unless the facts are in and the matter is settled. Then we will judge. Thank you so much for listening today, and I appreciate your support. If you haven't yet, hit the big red subscribe button, smash the bell for notifications. We're going to have more videos coming, probably pretty rapidly. I want to get the content up and running. I've got a lot in my mind and a lot on my plate to get out to you guys, so that we can start focusing on building a community where we can have open, intelligent dialogue that talks about the reality of the situations that we are encountering in this country. I appreciate it. This is Ricky Skiddo for Pontification Nation. I hope you have a great weekend.